Good evening, my trues, clues aficionados. I hope you're being safe out there, paying attention to life's trues, clues around you. I have got the most interesting cases. I say cases because it's three individuals that pulled me this way that I'd like to discuss with you. And it actually all came through a Colorado source modeling agency, or I guess a couple of them. One is Model Mayhem, the most in question. Expert Talent is another one. A few of the others are One Model Place, Port Box, Model Management. These three cases have a few things in common. There were modeling agencies that were supposedly working on getting the young ladies jobs. Another thing is that their lifestyle had a certain amount of risk in it as well. On Tuesday afternoon, Lynn Furlong of Denver, Colorado, received a troubling call from her stepdaughter, Raven, 17, who had been missing since February 5 of 2022. Raven said she was safe, but she was calling from someone else's phone and couldn't stay on the line and had to go. Lynn Furlong said, "I was relieved to hear her voice, but was terrified for her. She sounded scared and not like herself at all." Raven had been using the modeling website Model Mayhem, a networking site for models and photographers. Her family believes her disappearance may have been linked to a stranger that she could have met through the site. This must be something that is ongoing throughout these three cases that we're going to talk about. Raven's story is all too familiar for the family of Kara Nichols, 19, of Colorado Springs. Kara, who has also used the site, has been missing since October 9th. After she told roommates she was headed to a modeling job in Denver, she was never seen again. The parents are reluctant to portray their daughter as just a no-good person that no one should care about. As I said, there are aspects of high risk in the backgrounds of these women that we're talking about. Her mother, Julia Nichols, said a third woman, Kelsey Schelling, 22, of Denver, who went missing February 4th, was also an aspiring model, according to her profile found on experttalent.com. A representative of that site, however, tells us that Schelling created the profile in May 2006 and only logged on once. So far, police say there is no conclusive evidence that the disappearances are related. Model Mayhem has allegedly been linked to the disappearances of at least 13 women, according to Michelle Bart, president of the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation, which is now representing Raven and Kara's families. There are plenty of sites like Model Mayhem, such as One Model Place, Port Box, and Model Management. One review says one of the gentlemen involved in these modeling agency has modeled numerous models in Arizona and felt no remorse when confronted about it. He offered alcohol, Adderall, and pot to relax or up the rampage of shoots. He also said, "Since we signed model releases, we could not complain and would not allow chaperones into the studio, and would only shoot those who would pose nude. As he would say, you needed to be comfortable with his style. Perverted old man. Models stay away." Very rugged history. Model Mayhem headed back to court, accused of not protecting their users as new papers are refiled. The case of Jane Doe number 14 versus Internet Brands Incorporated is one of the many following cases that people are looking at with great interest. And internet giants like eBay and Facebook told the court the lawsuit would have a chilling effect on the internet. Well, what happened to Doe was tragic. She felt Model Mayhem was responsible for not warning her of the dangers from other members on the website. Internet Brands purchased Model Mayhem from founders Donald and Taylor Waite in August of 2010. The Waits sued internet brands for not paying them, to which internet brands responded by claiming that the Watts had failed to disclose an ongoing criminal investigation into Levi Flanders. Now, if that's not enough to turn your head and make you sick to your stomach to think of all of the young women with hope and, like Hollywood, just like a big giant shark, just waiting for you to fall into the water with your hope so they could eat you and make a skeleton out of you and make you regretful for the rest of your life, if you make it to live the rest of your life. These people are complete and total assholes, soul suckers. Okay, so they were pissed off over the Levi Flanders thing, so they're not going to pay for a company that they bought that's in dire straits anyway with criminal investigation. As part of Doe's actions against Model Mayhem filed in 2012, she alleges that in February 2011, too many used the site to lure her to fake auditions. Upon arrival, she was drugged and then raped with the acts recorded on video. Former Miami Beach cop Levi Flanders was one of the two men convicted last week of drugging 7 women and raping them on camera to make porno flicks. But his lawyer says that despite his client's public fall from grace, Flanders is no criminal. Get a grip on yourself. These girls knew exactly what they were getting into, claims Flanders' attorney Christian Scott Dunham. Oh, please. That's why they're being drugged and with alcohol and crap, because they're completely aware of what's going on. Levi Flanders, along with Emerson Callum, were convicted of sex trafficking in Miami in February 2012. They were sentenced to 12 consecutive life terms in prison. So that tells you right there was some heavy shit going down with these 2 men. The 2 North Miami men found guilty of sexual battery, human trafficking, and conspiracy. They lured aspiring models to hotels where Callum would have sex with them. Flanders filmed the encounters and sold the videos to various websites and video stores around South Florida. They would look for girls who wanted to be models. They would contact them fraudulently, pretending that they were women in some cases, and get these women interested in doing auditions. Then what would they do? It was very similar for all of these women. Is they would bring them into Miami for an audition. They would give them alcohol as part of the audition, laced with concocting Xanax into the drink. Their whole story that they were aspiring models is false, says Dunham. They knew that eventually they were going to do pornography, but that they had buyer's remorse. Are you kidding me? I don't think all of those people thought they were coming there to do porn. I mean, you could do porn in your own home state. You ain't got to go to Florida to do it. Doe said she was lured into the scheme in January 2006 when she received an inbox message in her blackplanet.com profile from a person who purported to be a female talent scout. The female talent scout told Jane Doe that she had viewed her profile on blackplanet.com and asked if she was interested in modeling opportunities. And of course, that's why she was out there, because she was interested in modeling opportunities. And they knew that. Plus, they know, if you're broken or you're poor and all of that stuff, they have into reading into people to know which ones to approach. Having no reason to believe that the person contacting her was not the person who she purported to be, and having never been warned that fraudulent solicitation by online predators was a prevalent practice on blackplanet.com, Jane Doe gave the female talent scout her contact information and confirmed her interest in modeling. And she probably felt a lot more comfortable thinking that she was dealing with a female. Doc says Flanders then contracted her using the fictitious name Antoine, saying the female talent scout had referred her to him. How convenient, Antoine. Antoine/Flanders asked her to come to Miami because he was interested in having her audition for Bacardi. How convenient. Had to get a modeling contract in South Florida, the complaint states. Before her audition, Flanders contacted Jane Doe numerous times and asked her questions about her alcohol tolerance, experience with drinking hard liquor. When asked why it was relevant, Flanders told Jane Doe that he wanted to make sure she could pass the audition. I don't know what drinking all that alcohol has to do with passing an audition, because even in real TV land that you are drinking tea or some other crappy thing that you're drinking. You're not even supposed to drink alcohol on a commercial. I know that, and I've never even been involved in modeling. And oh my gosh, this is just a case of not doing your background research as well. Doc says, pardon me, says she made the trip from her home in Jacksonville to Miami, where Flanders picked her up at her hotel and drove her to the audition location in Miami, Vibes Enterprises Inc. office. During the audition, Jane Doe was asked to recite certain lines and take shots of Bacardi liquor. Throughout the audition, Jane Doe took approximately 3 shots of Bacardi Gold. The next thing Jane Doe remembers after taking the shots of liquor is waking up in Flanders' car and being dropped off at the hotel. Flanders told Jane Doe that she would hear something in the next couple of days. After she returned to Jacksonville, Doe said she was contacted by the female talent scout on blackplanet.com, who told her she didn't get the part. Wonder why, because they already done got everything they needed out of her at that point in time and didn't even have to pay a penny for it. But in May, Doe says Flanders contacted her saying Olympic models wanted her to audition for a Hennessy and Bacardi modeling contract. Oh, dear God. Again, Jane Doe traveled to South Florida for the audition. Jane Doe was once again taken to Miami Vibes office. During the audition, Jane Doe was told to take shots of alcohol once again and recite similar lines as before. The next thing Jane Doe remembers is being dropped off by Flanders at her uncle's house where she was staying. Flanders told her she did really well and would hear back from them the next day. Jane Doe never heard back from Flanders or the talent scout. Wow. I don't even have words. In or about October 2007, Jane Doe was contacted by her agent, who asked her why she did not tell him she appeared in pornography. Shocked and confused and drugged, Jane Doe informed her agent she had never appeared in pornography. I imagine she was wondering how the hell she got out there with the hoo-hoo and chi-chis out there showing to the world. Jane Doe's agent informed her that there is a hardcore pornographic video of her available on the internet. Jane Doe watched the video of her with Edward Callum, realizing for the first time that she had been raped by Callum during one of the auditions. This was the first time she ever remembered seeing Callum. Upon learning that Callum and Flanders had been arrested for the rapes of other women whom they slipped the drug Xanax in alcoholic drink, Jane Doe went to the police station and pressed charges against them. Upon information and belief, Callum and Flanders likewise placed the drug Xanax in the shots of hard liquor that were consumed by Jane Doe as part of the audition. During either or both auditions, while Jane Doe was unknowingly under the influence of Xanax and alcohol, Callum raped her. Jane Doe, Flanders recorded the rape on video. Callum then produced and distributed the rape video for profit as hardcore porno throughout his company, Miami Vibes Enterprises, Inc., without the consent of Jane Doe or even the knowledge that she had been raped, according to the complaint. Beginning in 2006, if not before, the subjects used internet modeling sites as their hunting grounds to lure potential victims, Carpentieri said. They understood the industry well enough to impersonate representatives from major multinational companies. So they obviously did their research as much as perpetrators do, which is why I always tell you to look for the truth clues and be your own perpetrator on these assholes. The young woman, many aged 18 to 22, agreed to come to Miami believing they were auditioning for a commercial for a prominent liquor store company. They were persuaded to come alone because they were told family or boyfriends would be a distraction and also a production. The former police officer, Levi Flanders Jr., was not stupid, Detective Fletcher said. He knew how to manipulate people, and he could be charming. Charmed them right into being drugged and raped. The women who were told they would be doing a test shoot in which they would have to drink the liquor they would be advertising. Wrong. But the alcohol was laced with a date rape drug that made them extremely compliant and often left them to no memories of what had happened. After the drugs took effect, the women were encouraged to sign model release forms. Based on these consent forms, Carpentieri said the subjects thought they were going to get away with it. Initially, investigators and prosecutors were disturbed by the videos because it appeared the victims were willing participants. But the raw footage told a different story. It was clear the women were drugged and often barely conscious. Carpentieri said because of their memory loss, a lot of the victims swore that nothing had happened. She added, until we showed them the videos. Other women woke up in their cars the next morning, bleeding, covered in vomit, disorientated. Some notified the police. And I'm sure that's because of the great big shame factor that goes into that. How scary is that? I mean, these people are just like wolves in a chicken hen, and they're just like going around just picking anybody that they want to, like plucking apples off a tree. And these women, I totally believe in pursuing your dreams, but in doing so, you have to have a plan. You have to have done research. You just can't walk blindly into a situation. When I was younger, it was a scam too. They would scam you that you could be a model or at the very least look like one. And then you go and you pay all these $1,000 and they teach you how to put your makeup on and how to walk and crap like that, comb your hair. At least you'd be getting something out of it. I'm sure there was a seamy side to it I didn't see when I would go in to look at those places, knowing I'd never be able to afford them. But there's always been, you know, a predatory side to the entertainment business in general. So with that being said, a few tips to apply if you want to get out there and enjoy your dream is vet them with Instagram. Any photographer you might work with will have an Instagram account, and there's a lot you can learn just from their page. Are they professional? Are they sleek? Are they cool? Are they slimy? Do you feel like you need to take a shower after you look at their page? Bring an escort, much like those people try to discourage you. I don't care. You need somebody there to watch your best interest. And that's what I tell people that go to the hospital too. You really have to have somebody there to look out for your best interest, because hospitals are predatory areas too for different reasons. Google them. Ask for references. Know what's to be expected. Have clear guidelines set out on what you expect and what you will do, what they expect out of you, and are you willing to do it? Check the local blacklist. Big, big deal. Let me say that again. Check the local blacklist. And again, drive separately. I don't know if you heard about the photographer that took out that beautiful young lady out to the middle of nowhere and raped her and killed her, and that was a bad deal. So models have been up against it for a long time. These predators know that you have a good heart and that you're interested in getting somewhere in the entertainment business, and they will prey on you. And that's when you have to be ready to protect yourself, be ready to have your family with you to help you out. And even with that, all of that going on, it's a very tough industry. I don't know if I'd want to do it, but bless your heart if you want to. And if you want to, stay safe out there if you choose to get involved in that. So in the meantime, that is bringing me to the 3 different cases that I want to talk to you about. And the first one, I don't have as much information as I do the other ones. Raven Furlong was missing in 2013. And the missing Colorado teen was found safe in Venice over the weekend, her family reported. The 17-year-old went missing February 5 and was believed to be in Venice, where her car was found last month. Her family suspected foul play, but cops told reporters over the weekend that she was fine and free to go after they checked her out. She's going to be 18 next month and chooses not to return to her family. Her family said she was found Friday. They have alleged that Furlong has been running with the wrong crowd, was being trafficked and was truly in danger. And all of that still may be true. You know, people who go through drama and think they're broken and are trash have trouble going back to the family, and just, you know, the trauma drama that comes along with it. In a statement published on Facebook, the family says, earlier this year, we told you about the search for Raven Furlong, a missing 17-year-old from Aurora, like Kara Nichols, 19, and Kelsey Jean Shelley, 21. Two other women whose whereabouts remain unknown. She had a profile on a modeling-related website. Furlong's car was found in LA last month, and now police say they've made contact with her. But because she's turned 18, she doesn't have to return home and has declined to do so, even though her mother fears she's in danger. Photos, video, and details below. I will have some photos mixed in with the video. With fears of foul play growing in the cases of these three Colorado women who had profiles on a small-time modeling agency websites before they disappeared, an advocacy group for the women is launching its own investigation to see if they are connected or possibly even a bigger, wide, national case-wide. So they think that because these women are getting caught up in this strange fashion with these men, that they may be hooking up with them or getting connected with them over the modeling website, or just the people that work for the modeling websites could be taking advantage of them too. It sounds really weird about this whole Furlong thing. I don't know what her dynamic was with her own family, if she felt, oh, you know, okay with them, or if they were at odds. And that's why she needed to, you know, take a trip and is not wanting to come back. And there could be many reasons why she doesn't come back. You know, she had a bad family life. She feels like she's not good enough to come back now that she's, you know, been trafficked or whatever. So there's so much that goes into that. I really feel bad for those people. Hopefully things will change for them and they'll be able to get back together with their loved one relatively soon. So the second person in question is Kara Nichols, who was 19 when she disappeared in 2012. A 19-year-old went missing nearly a decade ago. Her body was just found in Colorado, and she went missing nearly a decade ago. Now her body has been found and a man faces charges. Kara Nichols was last seen on October 9th of 2012. She was reported missing 5 days later. Nichols told her friend she had planned to travel from Colorado Springs to Denver for a modeling shoot the day she was last seen, and a black sedan pulled up outside her house, picked her up, and she was not seen again. Then Nichols' parents heard what was going on, and they made the trip to Colorado Springs to help look for their daughter. Their Facebook site said, and became even more concerned when they looked in her room and saw that her laptop, her professional makeup kit, and nearly $300 were left behind. Despite the family making media appearances in the last decade, only a few tips came forward on the case, and none reportedly panned out. Her family has long blamed the local sheriff's office for the lack of movement in the case, especially after the former sheriff was indicted on corruption charges and a recording surfaced of the initial lead investigator admitting that he, excuse me, surfaced of the initial lead investigator admitting that he hadn't done a lot of investigating when Nichols first went missing. And police said in 2016 they didn't believe the job for which Nichols left on the last day she was seen alive was a legitimate modeling gig. Though Nichols did have a profile on the legitimate website Model Mayhem and had professional photos taken in the years since her death, her parents discovered that in addition to trying to jumpstart her modeling career, Nichols had done some escort work and they knew she had been using drugs, according to the missing persons report. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. And something was obviously up because she didn't take any of the crap that she needed to do her modeling thing. Maybe she was just doing a night of escorting that didn't turn out that well. When a tip was received, a search warrant was obtained on February 7th, and a team of El Paso County Sheriff's Office detectives and specialists, alongside the Federal Bureau of Investigation Evidence Response Team, were deployed to the 9600 block of Burgess Road, deputies said February 8th. Human remains were recovered from the area and identified as Nichols a day later. Joe Hollendorfer was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. Officials did not say what specifically led to his arrest. There have been hundreds of hours worked on this case, dozens of search warrants executed, and numerous leads which have come in over the duration of this case, spanning across the United States and Europe. Oh my God. That just gives me the skin chills. It says trafficking all over. The sheriff's office said these types of cases are complex and difficult to solve. Kara was placing ads to be an escort. One ad posted October 9 of 2012 at 7:28 that showed Kara in lingerie advertising herself and added her number for people to call. Damn, that is so brave. I'd be horrified and terrified to do that stuff. I'm not looking down on her, but I can barely get into an Uber car and drive somewhere with somebody by myself. That's a man. Upon reviewing Kara's cell phone records, it was revealed that she made 8 calls between 9:58 p.m. and 11:08 p.m. and she last used her phone at 11:59 p.m. Hollendorfer said he was seeking escort services that night and answered Kara's ads, saying that they spoke several times that night, but he was looking to go to her, but she only went 2 locations. Well, that makes sense. Hollendorfer went on to say that they had never met on that night. Bullshit. Kara left her house at approximately 11:16 p.m. Based on the last known activity from Kara's phone, it led them to 9665 Burgess Road. Through further investigation, the address was listed as the address of Hollendorfer's parents. Oh, why do their parents always get used like welcome mats? Bodies get dumped, murders happen, and these poor people are law-abiding citizens. They usually don't have a clue, not one freaking clue as to what's going on. Sorry, I had to take a sip there. My throat is very dry. Detective Gugliotta obtained a search warrant for the address October 2nd, 2014, and it was executed on October 15 of 2014. Multiple agencies participated in the search, including cadaver dogs. None of the burial locations were excavated in 2014. Her body was not found. Hollendorfer added that he had been involved with the escorts many times, which he says why his marriage had ended. He had also added he was heavily involved in escorts and drugs at the time. Hollendorfer's wife, Christina, was interviewed February 1, 2022. FBI special agents Brandon Preet and Michael Willis interviewed Christina, and she stated that after Hollendorfer's father died November 2014, he admitted to her that he had accidentally killed an escort. He had hired and buried her body on top of an old horse grave on his parents' property. Again, parents use like welcome mat. that Hollendorfer admitted to accidentally strangling Kara to death and then burying her in an old horse grave with plastic bags and limes, saying that Hollendorfer stated he felt responsible for his father's death as he told him about killing Kara. On February 8th, 2022, the El Paso County Sheriff Office confirmed they had found the body of 19-year-old Kara Nichols, who went missing in 2012. That jerk asshole. I can only imagine the horror that she felt having to go through all of that crap. And what makes me wonder, was she finding these people through the dating or the modeling site? It's really unsettling. An affidavit reveals new details about events that led up to the disappearance of Kara Nichols. According to an affidavit, Paul Nichols reported his daughter missing to Deputy Ayad with El Paso County Sheriff's Office in October 14, 2012. He went on to state that his son, Terrence Nichols, lived in Colorado Springs, and that was the last known person to have contact with Kara on October 9th of 2012. Deputy Ayad contacted Terrence, where he stated he had received a call from Kara around 11:45 p.m. on October 9, 2012. In the phone call, she said she was on the way to Denver for a modeling assignment. But you're not going to really tell your brother if you're going out on an escort date, are you? After that call with Kara, Terrence attempted to call her the next day, but his phone call went straight to voicemail as if her phone was off or dead. On October 11th of 2012, Terrence went to Kara's house and spoke to her roommates, who said she had not been home since going to Denver on October 9, 2012. While at her house, Terrence saw Kara's cell phone charger, laptop, and other necessities in her room, which leans more towards going towards an escort date. A missing person alert was then put up for Kara by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. Detective Gugliotta was originally assigned to the case February 4, 2013, and it was determined that Kara was placing ads to be an escort. One ad was posted October 9, and we know that. Detective Gugliotta said he was investigating a missing person case with his number on the list of records the night she went missing. Hollendorfer said she was seeking escort services. Okay. On May 8th, 2013, Detective Gugliotta received a return phone call from a man who identified himself as Joel Hollendorfer. When asked if the phone belonged to Hollendorfer on October 9, 2012, he said yes. Detective Gugliotta said he was investigating a missing person case and his number was on the list of records the night she went missing. Hollendorfer said he was seeking escort services that night and answered Kara's ad saying they spoke several times that night, but he did not see her. Hollendorfer was wrong. They had indeed seen each other in the world's worst way. Investigators volunteer Mark Oldfield was able to track Kara's phone movements the night of October 9th. Its last known usage in the early hours of October 10 of 2012. Oldfield was able to determine that Kara left her house at approximately 11:16 p.m. and traveled the following route: Galley Road to Peterson Road south to Highway 24, then eastbound. Turn north on Mark Shuffle Road to Woodman Road. Turn west on Woodman Road. Turn north on Black Forest Road. Turn northeast on Volmer Road. Turn east on Burgess Road. Whose house was that? Ha ha ha. Hollendorfer, or at least his parents. Further details revealed 6 calls/texts were received from 11:34 to 11:41 coming from off of Woodsman Tower. Based on Kara's phone activity, her phone was at the intersection of Woodman and Black Forest Road at 11:33. consistent with Hollendorfer's well-traveled route to Burgess Road. Detective Gugliotta and Oilfield traveled her entire route. Based on the last known activity from Kara's phone, it led them to 9665 Burgess Road. Through further investigation, the address was listed as the address of course, Hollendorfer's parents, otherwise known as the Welcome Mats. Through further investigation, the address was listed as the address of him as well, I'm sure, at some point. Multiple agencies participated looking for Hollendorfer's body. Hollendorfer's mother, Betty, walked the property with members from the search team and pointed out numerous locations where animals may be buried since purchasing the property in 1985. None of the burial locations were excavated back then in 2014. Betty Hollendorfer suggested investigators should search the property across the street at 1660 Green Acres Lane, where Hollendorfer had access to. The homeowners gave permission to search, and ultimately cadaver dogs narrowed in on a shallow grave. The area was excavated, and it was apparent that roots were dug up at the site and a hole had been dug to about the size of a human body, but there were no human remains. Maybe he had changed his mind on where to put her. During an interview on October 21, 2014, Hollendorfer confirmed looking up Kara, wanting to meet with her and communicating with her. He explained further, Kara never met him at the location they talked about. They were supposed to meet near Galleon Powers. Complete lie. Hollendorfer added that he had been involved with many escorts many times, which is why he had problems in his marriage. He also added he was heavily involved in drugs too. Ultimately, he denied ever meeting Kara, which was something he held on to, I guess, till they found her body. However, on February 1 of 2022, FBI special agents Brandon Preet and Michael Willis interviewed Christina, and she stated, of course, that he had said that he had killed her. During the interview, he admitted that he had strangled her and buried her in the horse grave, which they're still looking for. Christina believed that his parents knew that he'd killed Kara, and he believed that that's why his dad died, from the stress of knowing that. Hollendorfer was also asked to identify all the spots where the horses had been buried, and when asked about a specific location that was previously identified, he described it as a dry patch with a high spot, and that nothing was buried there. During a separate interview with Hollendorfer's mom, she was asked about the same location. She said it was where her favorite horse, Milo, was buried. Very confusing. An FBI evidence response team and detectives with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office began searching the property after obtaining a search warrant that was issued February 3 of 2022. They searched the specific site, and approximately 3 feet down, they found black plastic believed to be a garbage bag. During the excavation, they found a human hand and remains. Police then arrested 46-year-old Joel Hollendorfer in connection with Nichols' murder, and he's charged with second-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence. Wow, what a lousy man he was, and apparently other people knew it about him too. I don't know why his ex-wife didn't say anything about it, or if they were getting along at the time, but murder is murder, dude. You just can't be just letting people get away with that shit, whether they were escorts or not. It's full of crap. Okay, so that leads me to my last victim here. This one was a little more popular. I do remember the missing gal from the previous case, and all of her being found and whatnot, and that kind of pulled my attention. This other one was a lot more well-known here in Colorado. Kelsey Schelling, 21, turned up missing in 2013. A well-known Southern Colorado murder victim is still missing on the 7th annual Missing Persons Day, along with hundreds more. And I believe they said something that her mom did a lot in helping to get this Missing Persons Day going to keep Kelsey's memory, or Kelsey's memory alive. 11 News checked in with the family of Kelsey Schelling, who went missing on February 4th of 2013 in Pueblo and has still not been found. Her convicted murderer was found guilty last March. I'm just struggling. I'm so grateful for the verdict. So much hard work went into it, but my goal has always been to be able to bring Kelsey home. When that didn't happen, when the information didn't come forth during the trial, it was really hard, said Laura Sexton, Kelsey's mom. Sexton created Colorado Missing Persons Day in 2016 to honor the hundreds of lives that still have not been found for 6 months or more. This year will be the first year Kelsey's family had justice during Colorado's Missing Persons Day. Although they still have not found Kelsey, Kelsey was 21 when she was found out on February 4. She was 8 weeks pregnant. That was also the day she went missing, when she was on her way home from Denver to Pueblo to discuss the pregnancy with convicted killer Dante Lucas, I believe his name was. Lucas wasn't charged with murder until December of 2017, when he was in jail on robbery charges, not tied to Schelling. So he obviously wasn't a very good person, because even after committing murder, he's out there committing robbery. The trial was pushed back multiple times for a number of reasons before it started, with jury selection on January 25 of 2021. The trial completed March 8th of 2021. A Colorado man was found guilty of first-degree murder 8 years after his pregnant girlfriend disappeared. The jury came to the verdict on Monday for Dante Lucas. Lucas was immediately sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. To date, the body of Schelling has not been found. I don't know what my life looks like going forward, Laura Sexton, the mother of Schelling, said immediately after the sentencing. It's going to take me a long time to figure things out. Please keep searching. If you're out hiking, she could be found and brought home and have the proper burial for her. The bubbly was the word that I think every friend of hers used to describe her. Sexton said of her daughter, Kelsey, she was very bubbly, very spirited, very soft-hearted, silly and very, very silly, funny, huge-hearted. She was just tiny little thing, but she was just so full of life. I just miss everything about her. February 4, 2013, the last time Kelsey Schelling was seen. February 5, 2013, Kelsey's car was seen at several different locations. Lucas reportedly withdrew money from Kelsey's bank account, according to investigators. I mean, hey, you know she's not going to be taking the money because he did what he did, so why not help himself to it? What a jerk. February 7, 2013, someone is seen on a surveillance video leaving Kelsey's car in the parking lot of a hospital. February 14, 2013, police find her car. November 15, 2017, Lucas was arrested on robbery charges not related to the Schelling case. Kelsey Schelling was born in Holyoke, Colorado, February 18, 1991. Laura stated that Kelsey was always a little firecracker. When she was younger, she would go to bed and each animal had to be perfect. Her father stated she was feisty. Kelsey loved playing basketball with her friends. A friend of Kelsey said that Kelsey's laugh was contagious. She would giggle, causing you to giggle. Kelsey's favorite color was purple. We all have friends like that, especially at that age. You just start giggling, they giggle. It's just a real festive, fun, giggling fest. Kelsey's parents divorced in 2002, but remained close to both of them, especially her mother. Kelsey lived with her mom. Her brother lived with her dad. In her high school year, she was voted prom queen. Kelsey then went to Sterling to Northeastern Junior College to get a degree in psychology. She met her boyfriend in 2010 and dated off and on again. Kelsey got pregnant in 2012. Her family was very supportive and she was excited to be a mom. Kelsey received text on February 3rd, 2013 from baby's dad asking her to drive to Pueblo where he lived. She drove down as soon as she got off of work, never to be seen again. The Pueblo murder trial of Dante Lucas, who is accused of murdering his pregnant ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old Kelsey Schelling, in 2013, continued Wednesday following testimony from various experts on evidence found in her vehicle. There were no cameras allowed in the building and no live reporting from the courthouse. There were limits on the number of people because of COVID. And it was discovered during the trial Wednesday morning that an upcoming witness in the trial was found shot to death last week in Denver. Roxanne Martinez, 31, was found dead on February 25 from a gunshot wound, and her death has been classified as homicide. The Denver Police Department has said they don't believe her death was connected to the trial. The district attorney has confirmed that Martinez was going to testify for the prosecution this week, that Lucas confessed to her that he had killed Shelley. Martinez's cousin said he believes her murder does not have anything to do with the trial, and the case is still open. Wow, what bad luck there. Lauren Schur, who now lives in Washington but lived in Colorado Springs in April 2016, took the stand virtually again Wednesday morning. She said Tuesday in 2016 she was trying to gather information from Lucas about shelling. She said she was first reached out to him on Facebook and they exchanged numbers. After a few weeks, they met in person. Schur said during her testimony that Lucas characterized Shelling as a best friend because she basically paid for everything. He told her that he and Shelley would do drugs together like cocaine. He also told Schur that a man he did not know picked Shelling up the last time he saw her. How convenient. Lucas also admitted to Schur that he was the person seen in the Walmart surveillance footage and that he moved the car to St. Mary Corwin Medical Center. Prosecutors said he also admitted to that in 2017. Schur also testified that Lucas would break down and cry whenever he talked about Shelling, said he had nothing to do with her disappearance. Now, why did this chick not come forward a lot sooner? Oh my God, that is also disturbing. When Schur was back on the witness stand Wednesday, she said Lucas proposed to her. She took the ring, but that was the last time she ever seen him. They never spoke to each other again because he ended up getting arrested after that. Girl, we as women, we got to have each other's back. She knew something was wrong there, and she should have said something. So, in conclusion, I can only stress to you again to do your homework if you're going to get involved in these people, with these kind of modeling corporations. If you are a broken person and have low self-esteem, really, really try to do the hard work and work spending the time instead of getting out there and trying to model. Maybe work on yourself first, build up your self-esteem. It's a really hard business to get into. You have to have a really tough, thick skin to get through it. And if you're a broken person walking around where other people can sense that about you, the only thing it's going to create is a wolf in you to be a chicken. The National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation has hired a private investigator who plans to look into the possibility of a connection between the disappearances of Raven Furlong, 17, and Karen Nichols, 19, who both had profiles on modelmayhem.com, and Kelsey Shelling, who had a modeling profile on the site Explorer. Again, I want everybody to live their dreams, but take what happened to these women to heart. I mean, if you want to be an escort, that is a very dangerous lifestyle to get into. And you may not think you're worth it, but you are worth it. And your family and your friends know that. And that's why they care about you and look for you when you're missing. So think about that before you take that big leap into jumping into a car with somebody that you don't know or going to somebody's house that you don't know. Yeah, you may be having trouble at this time. We all have troubles, but if you look back in it in 5 years, it wouldn't be the same anymore. So with that, my Trues Clues aficionados, I love you very much. Stay safe out there. Pay attention to life's trues, clues around you. If you see something, say something. With that, if you appreciated anything I put forward in tonight's episode, please like and subscribe. If you are feeling really Kelly and wanting to help me grow my channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. The icon is there on the screen.